We are jumping straight into the sources today because this is a topic that um, it drives almost every conversation you have, every single day.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
How do we talk about the future in a way that sounds confident, natural, and completely clear?
Yeah, that clarity is everything.
Think about it. Your average week, you probably spend half your time discussing plans for tonight or goals for the next quarter.
Or that meeting you have next week.
Exactly. Or even those huge kind of vague dreams you have for the next few years.
Right.
So if you want your English to sound absolutely seamless in those moments, to really distinguish a settled decision from just a sudden thought, you need the right tools.
The precise linguistic tools.
We've been diving into material designed to simplify this whole process. We're covering both the fundamental grammar and those essential natural phrases that fluent speakers use all the time.
The ones they use to manage expectations and convey their level of commitment.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Our mission today is to pull out the essential linguistic nuggets that let you signal instantly whether something is a fixed plan, a spontaneous choice, or, just a hopeful dream.
And that precision is so important because if you choose the wrong phrase, you might confuse your listener about how dedicated you actually are to that plan.
That's a great point. And that level of dedication is what's so fascinating here. We aren't just memorizing grammar rules today.
No, not at all. We're looking at how English speakers use these very specific structures to signal not just what will happen, but when the decision was actually made.
It's like a conversational shortcut.
It is a shortcut for efficiency.
Okay, so let's start right where most learners get stuck, the near future. This is tricky because you have to choose between going to and will.
And the sources are really clear on this. The distinction hinges entirely on the timing of your decision.
Okay, so let's break that down. First up, going to.
Right. You use going to when the decision about the future action has already been made. The commitment was made in the past, even if the action is tomorrow.
So if I decided yesterday that I needed to study tonight, I would use that classic example from the sources.
Which is?
I'm going to study English tonight.
Exactly. That means the plan is settled. It's locked in.
It's a pre-existing commitment I'm now just reporting to you.
Yes. Using going to tells your listener, this is a firm item on my agenda. It just removes all the ambiguity.
So at work, if I tell a colleague, I'm going to submit that report before 5, I'm not just making it up on the spot.
No, you're confirming a task that was already decided. It communicates certainty and that you're going to follow through.
Now here's where people get tripped up. What happens if I use will in that exact same situation? What if I say, I will submit that report before 5? Is that wrong?
Well, it's not grammatically wrong, but it can sound conversationally jarring.
Jarring hell.
Remember, will signals an immediate spontaneous decision, one you make right at the moment of speaking. So when you use will for a pre-planned commitment, it kind of sounds like you just decided to do it right now.
Which could sound a little dismissive.
It could, as if you hadn't prioritized it until that very second.
That is such a useful distinction. You're actually undercutting your own confidence level if you use will for something you've been planning for weeks.
Precisely. It sounds less committed. Now, let's flip that. For the times when will is exactly what you need.
The spontaneous moments.
Yes. We use will when the decision is a direct response to the current situation. It's a reaction.
And the sources had a great example for this.
They did. The perfect real-world scenario. You're sitting in a room, you notice it's uncomfortably hot, and you spontaneously decide to fix it. You say,
It's hot. I will open the window.
Exactly. The decision is made now for an action in the immediate future. That immediacy is the signal that will provides. It's an offer, a promise, a spontaneous solution.
So understanding those two core points instantly cleans up your conversations about the immediate future.
It really does.
Are you reporting a fixed schedule? Use going to. Are you reacting to a problem right now? Use will.
Simple as that.
But the sources also hinted at a third one, a sort of cousin to these two that learners often see. The present continuous. How does that fit in with fixed plans?
See, this is where the deep dive value comes in. While going to is about your internal decision, the present continuous like I am meeting or you are arriving is often for fixed external arrangements.
Things on a schedule.
Exactly. Things set in stone, usually involving someone else, like reservations or appointments. For example, I'm meeting my dentist at 3 p.m. tomorrow.
You could say, I'm going to meet, but I'm meeting sounds firmer.
It does. It emphasizes that the event is so fixed, it's basically already on a schedule, already happening. It adds this layer of formal certainty.
That makes the near future so much clearer. You have three powerful tools
Going to.
for an internal prior commitment, for a spontaneous immediate action,
And the present continuous.
for those fixed external arrangements.
That's the toolkit.
But, speaking naturally isn't just about nailing the grammar. It's about having those common idiomatic phrases ready to go. So let's shift into that conversational toolkit. Let's start with how we talk about solid certainty and anticipation for plans we've already decided on.
When we move from pure grammar to conversation, we have to master the idea of a plan.
Right.
And the sources define a plan very simply. It's something you decide before it happens, but the real skill is in how you communicate that decision.
And the most basic way is just to say it. I'm planning to. It's like a verbal handshake that says, this decision is settled, I've thought about it.
So if you say, I'm planning to visit my friend on Sunday, you're confirming that the calendar is marked, the decision is firm.
Yes, and this is where we can start to add some emotional color.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
If you want to elevate that plan's certainty with positive emotion, you use look forward to.
That phrase is so powerful because it operates on two timelines at once.
So.
Well, it defines a future event, the vacation, the day off. But the excitement, that feeling, is happening right now as you speak.
That's a great way to put it. If you say, I'm really looking forward to my day off, you're not just stating a fact. You're communicating anticipation, motivation.
Excitement.
You're sharing your internal state now while talking about something that hasn't happened yet. It makes the conversation so much more dynamic.
It's a huge conversational upgrade. Okay, now let's dive into the messy middle.
The spectrum of uncertainty.
Exactly. In real life, not everything is a fixed plan or a spontaneous choice. Sometimes you just don't know, and you need the right language to communicate that.
This is all about managing expectations. So at the lowest end of the commitment scale, when you're still thinking, no decision made, you use that great phrase.
I haven't made up my mind yet.
Yes, it signals total indecision. You're still negotiating with yourself or waiting for more information.
Like when you're scrolling through a streaming service and say, I haven't made up my mind about what to watch tonight.
It's just transparent communication. It says, my brain is processing, please stand by.
Okay, then we move slightly up the scale to low likelihood.
When something's just not certain, we signal that with might, or the word maybe.
The sources gave us. I might go for a walk later.
And when you say that, you're subtly telling your listener not to count on you.
Right. Don't wait for me.
It's a soft possibility. The commitment is minimal.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me because we move further up the scale to probably.
Yes.
This signals high likelihood, like an 80 or 90% chance. It's almost certain, but you're leaving yourself that little bit of an out.
And that word probably serves a crucial function in natural speech. It softens the commitment just enough to feel realistic.
And listen to how we use it. The sources highlighted this. We almost always contract the verb. We don't say, I will probably.
We say, I'll probably.
I'll probably stay at home today. That little contraction, I'll probably, is a huge sign of conversational fluency.
It really is.
And think about the difference in impact. If I say, I might stay home, you might still call me and ask me to go out.
Yeah, it's still on the table.
But if I say, I'll probably stay home, you'll likely assume I'm busy and maybe not even bother me. The language changes the listener's next action.
And finally, in this section, we have the conditional future, which is everywhere in daily life.
This is when a decision depends entirely on some external factor.
And we express this so powerfully with the phrase, it depends.
That phrase is a conversational powerhouse. It manages expectations perfectly while explaining the conditions of your decision.
You're telling your listener, my commitment is conditional, and here's the condition.
For example, I might go out tonight. It depends on the weather.
Or, I'll probably finish the project by Friday. It depends on the client feedback.
It lets you stay flexible without sounding indecisive. You're giving a logical reason for the potential lack of commitment.
Which builds trust and clarity. You know, if we connect this to the bigger picture for a moment, these phrases are essential.
Why is that?
Because they map your internal negotiation process directly onto the conversation. You're not just guessing. You're communicating the logical factors that are governing your future choices.
That's a great way of looking at it. Okay, so we've covered fixed plans, spontaneous choices, and all the degrees of uncertainty for the near future. Now let's tackle the long game. Those big goals, dreams, and vague ideas that might take months, years, or maybe never happen at all.
Right. When we talk about these long-term aspirations, we have to use language that signals a softer, less actionable commitment.
These are not calendar items.
No, these are hopes. They require time, money, or a huge amount of effort.
And the sources cluster these really well, using phrases like, I want to, I'd like to, or just the time marker someday.
These words are crucial because they instantly put the idea into the aspiration category, not the project management category.
Think of it like this. If I'm dreaming about building a house, I want to build a house, is the first sketch of that dream.
Exactly. If you say, someday I want to travel the world, you're giving the listener the context that this is a dream, not a trip you booked last week.
Right. And I'd like to is a little more formal, maybe implies there's some kind of constraint, like you're saving up money.
For sure. But what happens when you move past that dreaming phase? When you start actively chasing that goal?
That requires a different phrase, a more committed one.
Work toward. This signals a continuous, steady effort over time. You are laying the foundation brick by brick.
That's right. It implies progress. Even if it's slow progress, it's directed progress. You're moving in the right direction.
And the example from the sources is perfect for anyone listening. I'm working toward improving my English.
It captures the process. You're studying a little every day, you're practicing, and over time, you expect to see that improvement.
It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Okay, now let's go backward on the commitment scale for the long game. Sometimes we have an idea, but it's not even a goal yet. It's just an idea.
The unformed idea, and we express that with, I have it in mind.
What does that actually mean?
It essentially means I've thought about it, but I have done absolutely nothing about it.
So if I say, I have learning a new skill in mind, it means I've considered that programming course.
But you haven't bought the book, you haven't signed up, you haven't even checked the dates, it's just sitting in your mental inbox.
Right. Awaiting action. And finally, tying this all back to uncertainty, when your long-term plans are just too complex or depend on too many other things.
We have that wonderful, very visual idiom for total ambiguity.
My plans are still up in the air.
That visual, something just floating, uncontrolled, is such a natural and immediate way to communicate that a major decision, like a move or a career change, is completely unsettled.
You're letting your listener know that the situation is, for now, out of your hands.
Exactly.
So after all this, what does it all mean? What's the core takeaway here?
I think the main insight from this deep dive is that talking about the future is so much more than just using the right tense.
It requires selecting the right expression, whether it's a grammar structure like going to, or an idiom like up in the air, to perfectly match your level of commitment and certainty.
And when you do that, your conversations instantly become clearer, more interesting, and honestly, far more professional.
And the beauty of this kind of learning is how fast you can apply it. The sources really emphasized that practice is key.
You don't need a complex scenario. Just start saying these simple sentences out loud and focus on the commitment level you're signaling.
Use the distinctions we covered today. Say, next week, I'm going to call my bank if it's a settled plan.
Or commit to a dream. Say, someday I want to achieve this specific goal.
Because talking about the future is fundamentally about sharing hope and motivation and confidence with the people around you.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture for a final thought, we can see that language provides a really precise map of our internal psychological state.
A map of our thinking.
Yes. Our linguistic choices reveal where we place the power. Is the plan fixed in the past with going to? Or is the decision happening right now with will?
Is the plan conditional on something else with it depends?
Or is it just a vague thought that hasn't landed yet, up in the air? Consider how often in a single day you choose those softer, more conditional phrases. What does that reveal about the conditional nature of your day-to-day life? It actually shows you the variables that are truly driving your decisions.